Moan Alone by Scott Patrick Mitchell. The walking through the walls, not paying taxes, and the ability to scare the colour out of a person's hair. These are all bonuses to being non-corporeal. But not being able to talk to humans plus the loneliness, these are all the worst parts of being a ghost. Okay, so maybe the loneliness is the only terrible thing. It's an ache you can't shrug off, or claim as a tax break. Those sins our priests guilt us with, they don't land you down there. No, down there would be much better than around here. I've been stuck in this house for the last 20 years now. All the kids on the street have grown up, left. I've been stuck in this same suburb for 20 years. My wife and I came here hoping to build a home together. Instead, we built a tomb. First, she left this life, left me, maudlin in our mausoleum. Then I left, foolishly thinking my own hands could solve the problems of something like a mortal coil. Well, they did. But now I'm trapped here. The rats in the roof keep me company. They're great fun. Every season I scare their newborn spawn, and at least one turns white with fright. Good fun. As the pups grow, they get used to me. If you listen to a mischief of rats long enough, you can hear the language they speak. Those non-twitches and skitter glitches of scampering and whisker wielding. Those nose twitches and skitter glitches of scampering and whisker wielding, along with squeaks, of course. They're a rich vocabulary. Oh, the conversations we have. Did you know rats love astrophysics? No, they're dying. Then the realtor arrived. Oh my God, she screamed. She was standing in the entrance of the lounge, one hand tugging at her pink poodle perm, the other clutching a phone to her ear. Is this past be dead? Yeah, I need you to come out immediately. I have a massive rat infestation. What are they doing? Well, it looks like they're attending a lecture. With that, she shuddered, spun surprisingly fast, huffed and wiggled her fat ankles back out the front door, slamming it behind her. I could hear her screaming the address into her phone through the lounge window. She was half right. It wasn't so much a lecture. When Miss Abby Rhodes of Need Closure Realty had walked in, the rats and I had been sitting peacefully in the lounge. Them in a semicircle of intense debate, me sitting opposite. We were engaged in an informal discussion of Schrodinger's cat, although the rats always insist that the cat's dead. I'll tell them they're missing the point. They disagree. Strongly. But still, their fevered squeaks fill the house with an odd kind of joy. Of course, Miss Rhodes had not seen me, nor had she heard the rather relative point I was making about exactly when quantum superposition ends and reality collapses into one possibility or the other. Surprisingly, the rats didn't scamper when the plump pink-haired perm had started screaming. In fact, they were stunned. Rats love good manners more than they love astrophysics. Oh dear, I said, peering over my shoulder through the lounge window. Miss Rhodes was pacing up and down the driveway, wringing her perm in both hands, pulling the spirals loose. The pink poodle was losing her poise.
Did she just call an exterminator?
Inquired Rat, the eldest rat, his whiskers calibrating the panic of all the rats gathered. Interesting side note, all the rats are called Rat. Weird, I know. I think they all named their children after their great-great-great-great-grandfather or mother or something. Indeed she did. I think it's time for all of you to leave, unfortunately. I sighed, even though I can't actually sigh because I can't breathe, so I just made the sound. It came out like a low, wind-rifled moan. The pups all shivered. I was sad watching all the rats leave, but it just occurred to me. When the exterminator arrived, they, along with Miss Rhodes, were quite surprised that there were no rats anywhere. You could say that, maybe, They were like Schrodinger's rats. After the exterminator came the painters. I tried many times to talk to these young men in their white overalls, but to no avail. In fact, every time I tried to introduce myself, weird things would happen. Paint cans would wobble. The ceiling fan would rotate by itself. The metal lattice would chatter like nervous teeth. Chatter like the nervous teeth of the painters.
Miss Rhodes?
The head painter whimpered on a final day.
I reckon this place is haunted, eh? Like, odd things have been happening, eh?
Oh, bish bosh belligerent and boo, she scolded, not looking up from her phone. What nonsense! It is not nonsense! My words were articulated as the ladder flinged across the room. The painters packed up quicker than I'd ever seen any tradies move. They tore out of the driveway in their ute, paint cans scattered all over the road, splattering the bitumen ghostly white. Miss Rhodes just stood there, eyes slowly knitting furious squints, her eyebrows lava, the pink poodle perm quivering with rage. You better not cause any trouble, she spat at the room, spinning on her ankles, clacking out of the door. She slammed and locked it behind her. I couldn't be certain, but I swear a shock white curl had appeared in her pink perm. A week later, the house filled with stage furniture. The week after that, squads of couples and kid-laden parents traipsed through the place, oohing and touching everything as if they already owned it. One mother suggested turning my old office into a nursery. I whispered my disagreement in her ear and the colour fell from her face. It fell as almost as quick as her convincing her husband to leave. Another couple discussed which walls would be torn down. As soon as they were alone, I offered my opinion. Several books plopped off the shelf. They fell out of love with the house. Just like that. Honestly, nobody who viewed my house was suitable. They spoke about equity, not entanglement theory. Bookshelves and bridging finance, not black holes and the Big Bang. Capital gains tax instead of Carl Sagan. Guarantors as opposed to Galele. Decidedly boring stuff. So I matched their droll chit-chat with pointing out the house's special features, the memories haunting it. How the kitchen was where my wife had learned how to cook curry, but instead the pantry doors gaped and banged, opening and closing incessantly. How the office was where I'd read the seminal works of great minds, astronomers, and astrophysics who didn't concern themselves with the confines of this earth. This resulted in the light fixture swinging as if a satellite caught in the gravity of some celestial body. How the bedroom was where my wife had died, cancer eating her up from the inside, which translated into the bed levitating. The bedroom was where I took my own life. I gave a most moving soliloquy that saw the mirrors cracking and shed tears. Miss Rhodes ordered an exorcist. When the priest arrived, his bald spot glistened in the midday sun like a pious fake halo. I decided to discuss with him the 11 dimensions of space-time according to the M theory. I was tempted to go with the bosonic string theory's 26 dimensions, but was glad I didn't. The priest only made it to what comprised the 3rd dimension before he fled, screaming. By this point, most of the furniture was broken. Miss Rhodes lost her deposit with the company that did the furniture staging. Later that week, she took down the for sale sign. You win, she muttered, jangling the keys in her hands, nervous and angry. This was a woman who didn't like to admit defeat. In gratitude, I gave her a hug. She jumped at my icy embrace. In an instant, her entire poodle pink perm turned shock white. The next fortnight was so lonely. The taps didn't drip. No morning breeze rolled in its fresh dew tongue through the closed windows. There wasn't even the monotony of a clock, ticking away at eternity. Eventually I could hear a scratching in the roof. A young rat couple came scampering down the air vent in the kitchen and sat on the tiled floor, noses twitching. They were whispering to each other, holding paws, nodding in agreement. I introduced myself and they both smiled.
"Excuse me, sir," said Rat, the male rat. "We heard that this house was available."
"Well," I muttered, "it depends. Do you like astrophysics?"
"Oh, yes,"
squealed the female rat, also called Rat.
"Our last name is Einstein. We love astrophysics. I mean, like our relatives say, it's all relative."
"In that case, then," I said, lifting up my sagging spectral shoulders, "allow me to show you around. Now, this office over here would make the most perfect nursery. Don't you think?"